Spare notes. Is this number 10?
Number 10.
Yeah, number 10. Share to your page. Smokin Tabacco. Go live. Okay. All right. Got it. All righty. Here we go. Turn off my sound on my phone. Coop, did you have a good holiday?
Yes, I did. I went down to my daughter's house.
Oh, there you go.
I got back from Florida. And then went to my daughter's the next day.
Nice.
We went to our daughter. We went as all of us. My whole family was together for the first time all year. So that was pretty, all my kids and everything. So that was pretty good.
Right.
Well,
And you actually recorded an episode of Beat the Professor today with the gang over there.
Yeah, it's airing tomorrow because a couple of those guys are traveling. So I just got done with the recording a few minutes ago.
Nice.
And it should be a lot of fun. That was a fun episode to do. And then after this, we recorded the 2-year anniversary of Jukebox. So busy day.
Very busy day. Very busy day indeed. Just finishing up here. And then I have some exciting news I'm going to go over in just a moment. Got some interesting things to share with the Smokin Tabacco fans and followers and Smokies. And then, of course, well, I guess to everyone. Yeah, we have some new members of the Smokin Tabacco family who are going to be partnering up with us. Ooh. We have some new partners over here at Smokin Tabacco. You're going to see a lot of next year. We got some stuff to give away for free.
Ooh.
We have our 2021 Cigar of the Year contenders list is up.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about that.
Yes, I want to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Already, I think we're ready to roll. It's gonna do it. All right. Well, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Spare Notes, episode number 10. My name is Matt Tabacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and I am joined once again by my very good friend, Mr. William Cooper of CigarCoop.com. As always, it's another meeting of the minds, and we are here today to talk to you about all things cigars and the interesting, the haps, what's going on. A lot of the stuff we're going to cover today is I have some updates that I want to share with everyone. I have some promotions I want to share with everyone. We're both going to talk about contenders for Cigar of the Year. My top 25 list is already up. The Cigar Coop contenders haven't been released yet, but I'm sure I can get Coop to kind of give us something for to talk about from his list. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see what I can get out of him. But Coop, how are you?
Doing good, Matthew. Happy Thanksgiving. I was thinking, okay,
yeah,
like about if you think about the genesis of Spare Notes, and this kind of was an offshoot of conversations that you and I were having. I believe it was about a year ago, Thanksgiving weekend, where we had that kind of that impromptu Zoom call. It was you, me, Carney, and I think a couple of other folks. And that was kind of like pre-Spare Notes. And I think that was the first one we had. I remember it was Thanksgiving weekend. last year. So we've come a full year if you look at that, and a lot's happened for sure.
Absolutely. So much has happened in the last year. I finally, I love bringing this up, and I think that you do too. I think you like when I bring this up.
I do too.
But
It's kind of funny now.
It was about a year ago now when I finally messaged Coop for the second time ever, hoping not to get yelled at like I did the first time. I was like, hey, here I was with my white flag. Hey, buddy. I would just think it would be cool if you came on the show, and then he apologized for being a dick. That was great.
Yeah.
And he still apologizes, and I'm like, Coop, stop apologizing. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was about a year ago.
Yeah, it was. It was because I remember you reached out. I got back because we usually go to my daughter's for Thanksgiving, and her husband's. So I got back home Thanksgiving night, and there was a message on my messenger from you Thanksgiving night. And I said, yeah, and I apologized to you. And I said, absolutely, I'll come on. And then that weekend is when you had that Zoom thing, and you I think I just was like kind of a fly on the wall. And he said, hey, why don't you come on in? I said, yeah, it'd be pretty good to break the ice and stuff like that. So yeah, it was all good.
Yeah, no, it was interesting too, because I was like, I want to finally start getting some more media people on the show too.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, that guy Cigar Coop, he kind of yelled at me before. It was like, why are you sending me a link to your show? Like, whoa. And I was like, oh shit, I just stepped on someone's toes. But no, it was all good. It worked out. And like you said, a lot has happened in a year. Now here we are doing the Spare Notes show. It's been a great time.
Absolutely.
The Leo Stone. Thanks for watching, buddy.
Hey Leo, how you doing?
Doing great. Mark Vanslid Wright is here.
Awesome guy.
Chad, Mike, Alan Rubin is watching. Michael Day, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Little post Thanksgiving. So it's actually it's our kind of on the odd week of a Spare Notes schedule, just because we had to do some schedule stuff. Yep. The regular Smokin Tabacco show, I should address this first, actually, Coop. The regular episode of the Smokin Tabacco show did not happen this week due to myself feeling under the weather. I had a little stomach issue.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I just didn't want to power through it, and I knew that I just was like, I gotta call a time of death on this. And it was really last minute. I felt bad because I texted Carney, and he was all excited to finally come back on, and then he was all excited, and I was like, dude, no go. And then he was like, what's going on? I'm like, I feel like trash, and I'm like, my stomach is just not where it should be. And I can't even, I don't even know what's going on right now. I can't even focus on that. And then I got through that and I slept it off, and we were going to maybe try on Thanksgiving Day, but we just had so much stuff going on with the family. So I just didn't really get a chance to do a show. And I said, you know what, whatever. It's just, let's just move on from this. It's unfortunate. It very rarely happens that we ever miss a show. Very, 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 very rare. But I do apologize to anyone who was excited for that. But here we are today, Spare Notes show. The regular Smokin Tabacco show will return next week with Charlie Minato from halfwheel.com. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a really great episode. Other than that, we have some new friends joining us at Smokin Tabacco, and as well as the Spare Notes show. Drew Estate is now going to be the official studio sponsor of the Smokin Tabacco show, at least on my end. And they are also going to be with us in doing some other magical things in 2022. So really excited about that. Our friends at Drew Estate are awesome. They are on the top 25 contenders list for Cigar of the Year at Smokin Tabacco, which we will get into later. We have a massive giveaway for the holiday season. If you missed it, it's on our social media page as well as on our website at smokintabacco.com. You can go on there and you can check out all the prizes we have. We have boxes of LFD, McAuliffe, Camacho Unleashed, as well as a mega bundle of loose cigars from Nicole and my personal humidors that we both picked out and put in there. I think there's I want to say at least 40 cigars that we'll be giving away. So stay tuned to that. It'll be a new winner every week in the month of December. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got for updates and stuff, Coop. What do you got over there?
Yeah, let me, so Drew Estate, they, I was just with those guys down in Miami. I hung out with those guys for about 3 days. Great guys, great company. They've been longtime partners of Coop. So it's great that they're on board with Smokin Tabacco and Spare Notes. They always said they're just great supporters. And then I will tell you that Coop doesn't run a lot of contests, but we do. The last year we did run a Drew Estate holiday contest. We are going to run another one this year. We are just working out the final logistics of what that prize will be. So stay tuned on that for sure. But we last year we gave away 3 Year of the Rod humidors.
Wow.
And believe me, it's super easy to enter both these contests on either one. I saw you guys have. It's not hard. Takes a minute. So the great way to kind of get that. Great way to win some stuff as well. But like I said, we don't do. You guys do more giveaways than we do. I don't do as many giveaways, but this is one of the few that we're doing. And that. Stay tuned. I'll have the announcement on that probably in the next week or two. We're just trying to finalize the prize item.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's always fun. People like to win free stuff. They like to get free stuff and
do something a little different on the holiday. Give back a little. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we love giving it away. So it's fun for us to just hold a contest.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. What are you smoking over there?
Well, I am smoking the Hoya de Nicaragua Numero Uno Le Premier. A cigar that is definitely in play for the Coop list this year.
Really?
So this is the second size that they came out with. This is the Churchill size. And I'm actually a bigger fan of the Churchill size than that Lonsdale size they did. So this has become a Thanksgiving smoke. My son-in-law likes this blend. So I took this down to South Carolina where he lives, and I just decided to light another one up this weekend as well.
See, I'm not gonna lie to you. That cigar it did not do it for me.
So I'll say this: the Lonsdale size was good. I didn't get the hoopla about it. Okay, people like Half Wheel gave it a number 1. A few people. This is definitely this size. I think it's a better size. It's not. It's not gonna be contending for number 1. I'll be honest with you, but I think this size is much better. Where it's certainly in contention for a top 25 spot.
I found it to be too tight. That and the Lonsdale, I found it to be too tight. I didn't like the way it burned, and I didn't find it to be very complex.
It's not as complex as, I would agree. It's not a complex, but it is. What I do like about this is, you don't get any of that harshness or bitterness like you get from a lot of Connecticut's. And I think Hoya has done a good job. I think I was worried about them doing a second size because of this, but it seems to have clicked with this one for me. But like I said, the Lonsdale size was good. It just the rave reviews weren't quite hitting it for me. Maybe this size is more in my wheelhouse for whatever reason. And like I said, it's enjoyable. Like I said, it's definitely a cigar that I think is in play on the Coop list, is what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, it's it'll be. I'm excited to see where it ranks. I really am. I'm excited to see that.
And we'll get into some cigar of the year stuff and mechanics, I think, a little later, and I'll talk about what I mean by in play. So I think we both have different, which I love. I love that cigar of the year lists have different approaches.
Right.
That to me, that's why you don't know. That's what I love about it. So
that's what makes multiple people doing it fun, because everyone's doing it differently.
Now I bust people's balls when I see them deviate from their criteria, and believe me, the media knows I'm a watchdog on that. I'm a watchdog. I told you.
Oh
today,
I know how you are.
You don't want to add up. See, we have a thing called the WFT list.
Right.
That is basically how to bleep did this cigar make a list, and it's not because the cigar is bad or not tasty. It's because I'll find someone contradicting what they said is their criteria. And I do it every year, or they spell the cigar name wrong. Don't spell your cigar name wrong on the list, because I'm going to nail you on it. I told Matt that too. Get the name wrong. Get the name wrong.
I sent Coop my list before it was public, and there was it was like, oh, you got 2 things. I'm like, God damn it! I'm like, how did I miss that? I'm like, but But this is why I send stuff to Coop before it goes live, because you need like another set of eyes to
Yeah.
like proofread stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, Coop, can you check this list? What do you think of this list? And he's like, it's a good list, but you got 2 things wrong. Like, son of a bitch.
I don't want you on that WFT list. Like,
Yeah, no.
I'd have to put you on there. And then they, well, how come you didn't put Matt on there and you put me on there? Like, I don't want to. So yeah, I think you got it. From what I saw, you were okay. You shouldn't have any problems.
But my list has been finalized and it is up on smokintabacco.com, so you can find it there.
Yep.
Do you want to get into some of the other stuff first, and then
why don't we get into the other stuff first, and then
Okay.
we'll get into that. This way, some of the housekeeping.
Yeah, let's do that first. What you want to start us off? What do you got?
Well, there was something interesting that I saw this week, right? And I think it's not as big a deal of a story as many people may think it is, but it kind of underscored something I've been saying. So this past week, and I hate talking about legislation, right? But this past week, an appeals court basically upheld a ruling that there was a ban on flavored tobacco in Philadelphia, and then it was kind of overturned, and the appeals court kind of upheld that overturning of the flavored tobacco ban. Now, what I want to say is that flavored tobacco ban, there were a lot of exceptions in it. Okay, It didn't, like, for example, if it didn't prohibit, if you were like selling 90% tobacco products, right, you could still sell flavored tobacco. Or if you were a distributor, you could still distribute flavored tobacco products, right? But I think it was aimed more at like the convenience store type things and everything.
Yep.
But here's what I say. I've been really questioning how much our trade organizations are fighting the battle on flavored tobacco. And the fact that they didn't even mention this week underscores the fact I don't think they care about this. I really don't. And to me, I've kind of said this 100 times. If there's any fight against flavored tobacco, I would be fighting it with every fiber of my being if I was the organization right now, because
Absolutely.
it represents a huge segment. But I know, like I said, I know the ban wasn't as bad. It's not a bad ban in Philadelphia, but it's a win. Why don't we celebrate this win? Say something about it. Like, look, and be done with it. It's great because it separates out premium from non-premium. Like, and the court upheld this and understood it. So to me, I just don't understand it. But it underscored more or less the fact that I don't believe our trade organizations are all in on the battle with flavored tobacco. And I would say that to anyone who comes on a call with me from any of the organizations, the PCA or the CRA on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it time and time again. Sorry, I'm trying to get some things lined up here, and I'm trying to multitask, and everyone knows, most people know that I'm.
Well, Matt, when we do these shows, it's hard. Don't feel bad, because we're not only the host, we're like chef, cook, and bottle washer.
That's right.
So sometimes it's all on us. So at least you have a little help on your side. So you have some help.
I do. I have a little
great
bit.
help. You have great help on your side. Let me look at you have, but I have no help.
No, a win is a win. But the other thing is too is a win is a win for the other side too. So if they get us on flavored tobacco ban stuff, right? That's still a win for them, and that's traction. That's traction for them to keep moving forward to take more. That's why people are like, well, I don't smoke that shit anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. If they get that, then what do you think they're coming for next? The shit that you smoke. So don't give them any traction. Don't, look, this is what happens. These government organizations that have, our money and time to come after the things that we enjoy and then try to force things on us that we don't enjoy. So it's just fucking leave us alone, will you? Like, that's all I have to say, really.
Yeah,
I've had enough. And you get these people, down in Washington, and you get the FDA, and the sad part is too, right? Is it's like it's all about money. It's all about who lines whose pockets and all this. No one, it's aggravating. It really is. It's hard to just like say something different about it because like we say it all the time.
Yeah.
It's just aggravating, and it's stupid. And it's like you're coming after us for what?
Yeah.
He'll want to say that, oh well, America is so free. It's not when you start taking away the shit
Yeah.
that we like. You know, it's just
Y- Matt, the other thing I'll say is this, and I watch your show and I see the news segments, right?
mhm.
And a lot of times, and this ain't picking on you or anything, this is all of us. We get these like we cover these stories like so and so wrote a letter to someone, right?
Yeah.
Or certain ones, or certain people are getting together and they're planning on addressing this committee or something like that. Well, I stopped covering those stories, just so you know. I'm only covering something if there's an end game result right now, because to me, it's I'm not blaming you for covering it, right? I get it, but I see our organization they make these announcements. Here's something where there was a tangible end game result, at least for now. It could still go to the Supreme Court. Here was a tangible result and a tangible win. We should be talking about this right now, and this stuff doesn't come out, and this is where I get really frustrated sometimes with things because, like I said, I think it was an important win, and rather than talk about an intermediate step which has no end game in the end.
Mm.
So it's this is kind of me on my if this is my gripe of the week, it's my gripe of the week. This was it.
Yeah, we had something similar, kind of. Well, not. I don't know. No, it's not really similar, but I had something kind of related. So there was Boston news. This is what I was gonna try to pull it up and screen share this, but these newspaper websites now, it's like they want you to pay. I had it open, but I opened it in like in a different window, and I wanted
Yeah,
to
they gotta
do
stay
it.
alive, these news. I get it. Yeah.
And I was like, no, I want to open a tab. And I went up a tab. Now I can't read the article because now it's like, son of a bitch. So I'm
You
trying
ran out of your
my free views on the Boston Herald. Thanks for reading. You can subscribe now for 99 cents. I'm all set.
Yeah.
But basically, I'll have to kind of go off of memory now. So we just elected a new mayor in the city of Boston, and Boston is divesting from fossil fuels. Michelle Wu, our new mayor, to sign ordinance Monday. Now, this was a story that was all very much about fossil fuels and, trying to, not spend so much money on anything that would further or enhance or in study or whatever on fossil fuels. They're trying to go more green and electric and all that, yada, yada, yada. So, but what was funny was the literature that was tucked inside this was funny because it was like, oh, this fossil fuels and this in fossil fuels and like the stuff that it would prohibit or whatever that or they wanted to like take away from or just like decrease or help to stop. It was fossil fuels, fossil fuels, fossil fuels, tobacco products, fossil fuels, and it's like, oh, here we go again. And this is what people don't realize is that you'll see these bills come up and it's like, oh, it's fossil fuels, and you'll be like, I don't give a shit about that, that's not my problem. But what the problem is they sneak in there other non-related things to try to get it in there. So this whole bill is all about fossil fuels and this and that, and blah, blah. And then there's a little tobacco products snuck right in there.
And that's what they do at the federal level too.
Yep.
Think about with appropriations and stuff. Yeah.
It's not just city, it's not just state, it's federal, it's all of them. They in all levels of government and legislature, they do this crap all the time.
Yep.
And they don't even do this just in the US. This happens all over the world.
Yeah.
It's what they do. They just, oh, you know what? Let's just slide it in there and no one will notice. Yeah. Well, I mean, people do.
Tobacco 21 was a great example.
Yep. I fully agree. And this is the kind of crap that we see. And I really wanted to bring that up because it's another great example of how these things get snuck in there.
Yeah.
And you know it, I know it, but most people are not even aware that it happens.
Right. And my fear is, back to the flavored is that's what's going to happen when I think eventually it's going to make its way into one of these bills. And the industry is going to be caught blindsided. Like they shouldn't have been caught blindsided with Tobacco 21. The industry let that happen. But my fear is it's going to happen with flavored as well.
Which, what's interesting, Nicole brought up a good point too. They're so like dog on a bone for any kind of flavor related, tobacco related kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the other thing that's now coming out of unlegalization. marijuana, right? Let's look at the marijuana market. Now that it has become, I couldn't see it.
Jose.
Who was that?
Who's Jose? He knows I'm doing
Oh,
this
Jose
shit.
Blanco. Oh, Jose.
God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's great. It's Jose. He always
Yeah,
gets
it's
that.
Jose, everybody.
Jose Blanco. No, but it's funny because we talk about this, and here in the United States, marijuana is slowly but surely becoming more and more legal. Now, the issue with that is, I mean, look, my stance on it, like, I don't really care.
Right.
It's not my thing. Great, have at it. I like to just use it as an example because it's such a similar thing. It's another kind of related kind of product that has been fully outlawed. When I was born, like, you couldn't, you got caught
Right.
with a joint, you going to jail.
Right.
Now, you can walk into a dispensary in Massachusetts without even a medical card, and you can just grab whatever you want and go home and get high. That is the reality of 2021. Now, you go and you see how they have like the edibles.
Yep.
Like they have chocolate and cookies and brownies and like gummy candies, and I think they have seltzers now, like flavored seltzer drinks, and it has THC in it. So
Yep.
let's talk about that for a minute. So you want to take away stuff that might appeal to children to get them on tobacco products, but at the same time, you're allowing marijuana to be available on the market, just fair game. And there's actual like fucking cookies with weed in it, and that's okay. You telling me some kid wouldn't be like, dude, I want to have a brownie and get high.
Yeah.
But an acid Cuba. No, that's a gateway smoke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a good argument.
Yeah. No, it's totally totally valid.
And it's like that's kind of where we're at. It's like, all right, well, it makes no sense. It's like, all right, so you're telling us, like, even with the vape people, right? Because that's kind of, I don't like to associate it with our industry, but it's on the more tobacco side than on the marijuana side. So for the sake of the argument, on the tobacco realm of everything that gets thrown together, the vape people in the same boat. It's like, oh, we have the vape thing. And then all the flavors. Well, the flavors are going to want the kids to do it. And blah, 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 blah. And so Massachusetts took away the flavors. Now you can't have any flavored vape products. But you can go to a dispensary and you can get a cookie with a bunch of pot in it.
Yep.
So tell me how that's, and arguably, right? What's worse? What's worse?
No, it totally is, and just they will go after that at some point. Don't worry, but you're right. It's hypocrisy. They'll go after because they're gonna realize they can, right?
Right.
They don't like. It's so ridiculous right now.
I think the biggest thing with marijuana is the argument on that. I think for those people, I think part like in terms of why it's now becoming legalized, I think what you're seeing is, I think states are now realizing that they can make money off of it through taxes. That's number one. Number one, that's what it is. It's, well, you know what? Let's just let them have it, and we'll tax the shit out of it, and they can have it. Won't get in trouble, but we're gonna make money off of it. Number two, it's like I think they're starting to realize like let's just stop wasting so much money on police and stuff like that, and like enforcing pot when we have other things we need to worry about. There's worse drugs out there that are becoming more of a problem. Harder core that the police really should be focusing on more than the kid at the mall who has like a gram of weed. You know what I mean? So I think it's taxing it. So you're seeing that now come to the forefront. And now you also have tobacco, and it's like, well, we're trying to take you down. We're trying to like push you, outlaw you, but we're also going to bring in marijuana. And it's like, well, okay, well, they're very similar, and there's a lot of similar arguments on both sides there. And you're seeing one trying to be pushed into the closet while the other one's actually being pulled out of the closet.
Oh yeah, well, no doubt. There's
but
no doubt about
let's
it,
not even mention. Not that I want to take it away, because we all enjoy it. But like, let's talk about alcohol. Out of the three, alcohol is the worst.
Alcohol's the worst.
Alcohol is the worst. Drunk driving, pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, liver cancer, all the stomach cancer you can get from alcohol. Drunk driving, killing people, alcohol poisoning. You drink too much, you kill yourself. Mixing it with other things, like said other hard. That's the worst. But that's not going anywhere. No one's even making a peep about alcohol because, well, everyone likes that. So
yeah, and let's also let's just keep in mind these are prohibition type of moves that are being made when it
Yeah.
comes to flavored tobacco. And oh, by the way, you ban flavored tobacco, you run the risk of a lot of companies going out of business because the flavored business is a major part of their profit margins. So it's not a good thing. It's just not. I mean, I get like a lot of people who follow our shows aren't flavored people, but it's important that we don't embrace any type of prohibition with this. And I'm not saying the traders organizations have done that. What I am saying is there should be Armageddon right now against all this stuff. I'd have my front line out there fighting this much harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it's a good time too,
Yep.
especially with PCA and CRA. We see them going through some changes, and there's a lot of optimism, I think, from me and you on those organizations going forward.
Oh, I think so too, and that's
and that's another part of it.
I do have optimism with that, but it doesn't mean they're doing everything perfect either. Yeah.
Right. I think that they're in a good position to continue to grow and to make changes and to better. I think they're on a good path. They just have to stay on it so they can keep getting better. This is not a time to get too cocky and excited and think like, oh, we got one win, like everything's fine. No, we got a lot of work to do. Let's keep at it. Let's keep going. Let's protect the industry. Let's keep making the trade shows better so we can continue to fund, so we can keep on fighting the fight and all of it as a whole. So I think that's the biggest message that needs to be said here.
Yep.
Because those are the front line. That's the first line of defense. Is those organizations when it comes to all the stuff we're talking about.
Agree.
Moving on to other topics. What else did you have on your list for this week?
My list just went kaboom.
Oh.
The other thing, I guess I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Just went kaboom here.
Coop lost it.
I lost it. The other thing we didn't really, I mean, there was just another small piece of news. You mentioned that there's changes happening in like PCA and CRA. There's also changes happening at the Cigar Association of America, which is an organization that represents the larger manufacturers.
Yep.
And the big one is there's a new president who is basically the executive director. His name's David Osgo. He comes from the spirits industry, and he's replacing Craig Williamson, who's been in that role for a long time. And I don't know I haven't been able to get info exactly what happened, if he had just decided to step down or if they decided to make a change or not. To me, Craig was a very effective leader of the CAA. So I don't see anything why they would go at. I think he's got a good track record there. So I don't know if there was a change made. I don't think he was forced out. But there wasn't a lot that came out about that, other than there's going to be a new CAA president for the first time in over a decade. So that's something worth watching as well. And the CAA there's been contention with the CAA versus CRA and PCA. So they've gotten together on some of the court cases, but they've also been diametrically on opposite ends of the things. And the CAA is where you have the big four in there primarily. There's other companies that are in there as well. Some of the companies support all the organizations, but the CAA is generally considered the bigger cigar companies are a part of that one. So just something I think worth watching going into 2022, that there's new leadership in the CAA right now.
Absolutely. There's a lot to watch. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of changes that have been made. Sorry, I just got interrupted by our cousin Mark here, who just came right in and just, what are you doing? I'm on the show. Can you get out of here? I'm just fucking with you. Just close the door. Mark is a mailman, by the way, and I do give him crap because the mail service is so horrible. I blame him. Bye, Mark. I'll catch up with you later. I just got startled. I'm like, who's out there? Anyway, and all my heat just left now. Thanks. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things in play, roles being changed. Another thing that we didn't really mention is last year we saw Glenn Loop leave CRA for PCA
A year ago.
about a year ago. It was
And
about a
there's
year ago,
no
was
and
it?
no
Yeah.
replacement's been made.
No, there hasn't been. But he has gone over to the other side on PCA and he's done a lot of things over there.
And he's done, yeah, and I think he's done a very good job over there too. So good point. But I still think the CRA needs some leadership. Okay. And I could give you some examples. I think I told you I think we talked about the example of the one thing that was like the partisan letter that went out. The fact that CRA sampler packs are being announced and the CRA ambassadors are not being told about them. Like it's nice that a company wants to announce they're doing a CRA pack sampler, but it would also be nice if we're told the details about the sampler, the ambassador. And I'm an ambassador and I haven't been getting any details on this stuff. So I don't know there's no communication going on. So I think they need some leadership to kind of fix since Glenn has left, these things have been falling through the cracks, is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's definitely been quiet, like on the CRA front. Like you don't hear as much. There's not enough people out there. There's no face. I feel like Glenn was a huge face for CRA. You know what I mean? He was a big face, and he was out there, and he was answering questions. And now he's doing that for PCA, which is great for them. But I feel like since CRA has just gotten a little quieter, they have revamped their website, by the way, which is nice. It's very modern now. Finally.
I know that thing was horrible for him.
So it was nice to see them actually kind of revamp that website. Another issue that we had actually at the trade show. Do you remember during this year's PCA trade show, there was somebody, I don't know who he is, but I know he's from CRA, and he was walking around and he was interviewing people on his phone for like CRAs. I don't know if they have like a YouTube channel.
I know who it was. It was someone from this. Yeah, I know who it was from the CRA.
And that was kind of like their show coverage, this guy on his phone. And I was with Pete Johnson, and we were setting up to do an interview with him. And it was funny because he was just like, he's like, I just don't know, like, if this is the best way that the CRA should be like presenting itself. And I had to kind of agree with that. And it's like, well, it's not very professional. It'd be nice to see them kind of ramp up their media stuff a little bit better too. Just throwing it out there. I don't want to knock anyone too hard. Maybe just put a little bit of time and money into that instead of someone walking around like this. Hi, I'm so and so from CRA. We're talking to Pete Johnson, and then you just hear this. Hey, what's up, guys? Pete Johnson from Tatuai. And it's like you can't even hear anything that's going on. So let's if you're going to have an organization, let's also just make sure that these organizations present themselves very professionally as well.
Well, yeah, and this is where I have another issue is, I actually don't have a problem with PCA doing that type of coverage because I think they have a trade show, and I do think they need to have some curated content of their own. Right. I don't think CRA needs to be doing this, right?
Interesting.
There's plenty of media outlets that you can partner with, right? And if someone called me up and said, "Hey, can we feed your videos on the CRA website?" I would say, of course. You don't need to be spending any sort of resource doing. You don't need to be paying someone to go out there to do this. It's just, why are you doing that? There's between you, me, Dojo, Half Wheel. How about that cigar? Blind Man's. There's plenty of stuff out there that will fill the coffers with all the interviews you want. Why are you trying to now make CRA into an organization? Partner with these media organizations and do it that way.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually nice. I didn't even think of that myself. It's a good point.
I mean, I've been also a little critical that PCA hasn't shared enough of our coverage over the years either. I mean, they should be shared. There's thousands of these stories, but at least they have that website link where you can subscribe to different feeds in there, right? So you can go on there and you can get you could build that custom newsletter that's in there, right? So there is a way you can get it, right? Which I understand. But again, CRA, that's not what you should be having someone out there getting retailers to be great American smoke shops. That's what I would be doing, and fundraising. That's what you guys should be focusing on, not interviewing Pete Johnson. Because like I said, there's another way you could do it. You could partner. I guarantee you, I'm not saying everyone would do it, but I think some would. I think a lot of people would do it.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
it's a good point.
Yeah.
I think it's a good point. I think it would be nice to see something like that and have a much better representation of content that's out there. I think that they should explore that, and that's something that should be brought up to them more directly.
Yeah, they used to promote our podcasts and our shows in their weekly communications years ago. They stopped doing that as well. It's like, hey, this week tune in. They would say tune into KMA, tune into the Cigar Authority, tune into whatever. And they used to do that. They don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, that's I think that's a good point too. And that's something that that should be brought up to CRA and PCA.
Yeah.
They should both be doing that, because maybe people don't want to follow them directly. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't, whatever. Yeah. But they follow us. And we're always out here. We're always out here talking about the stuff that they're doing. So why don't they push that? So if maybe they don't get people to follow them directly, help people follow us so we can get their message out. It's like we're helping them.
Yeah.
We're helping them help us. So let's all help each other.
Exactly. There's a guy called the Daily Ash. Are you aware of him?
Yes, I know him.
He's great. This guy captures every event and every show, and he puts it on social media.
Yep. He's awesome.
He's
great. He's from Hawaii.
He's from Hawaii. This guy's awesome. Yeah. What a job he does. We don't give him enough credit, I think, as a media. And I wanted to say, I think his name's Chris.
Chris Gomes.
Chris, I am so grateful for you doing that. And I don't think I thank you enough.
Did you meet him at PCA?
Yes, I did. I did thank him, but I keep thanking this guy every week. I mean, honestly, because he's doing an incredible job. And hey, if one person sees it out there, it's one more person than seeing it, in my opinion. But I get asked all the time, hey, how do I find out about all the shows? That's why I said go to Daily Ash, like his page. You'll know everything you need to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think as you're saying this, I'm like, shit. I didn't actually give him the heads up that we're doing an off week spare notes. That would have been great if he knew. But anyway, it's too late. We're
that's okay.
Here.
It happens. He does a great job. He does a great job. I mean, I get it. And he
in
does
his defense, he didn't know.
and he does the retailer events too. On top of that,
he does.
And every retailer should be thanking this guy.
Well, he has it separated into
separate,
in-person events and then virtual events.
Yeah,
virtual events being like virtual store events and podcast shows.
Yep.
So he covers all of it, and he's pretty organized about it too.
It's very organized, and he's like sometimes he has the show before I've announced it.
Yeah.
So he's on top of the shows, obviously the content on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I announce a show maybe and I didn't do the promo, I sometimes will see it out there, and I'm like, wow, he's good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get the schedule to him as much in advance as I can, but then sometimes I forget. But yeah, it's nice because he gets it out there sometimes before us too, which is great. It's a very useful tool, and he's great. And I think that more people should be not only thanking him, but going and helping him help them more often, because he's doing everyone a big favor. So really, 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 really big hats off and a round of applause to Chris. Over at the Daily Ash, he's done a tremendous job.
Yeah,
and
we want him to keep doing it too. So
absolutely, yeah. And anything we can do to help him, would be great.
Absolutely,
keep him going. So I'm actually going to tag him in the comments.
Yep.
So that way,
please do, because he does we don't. I know I don't thank him enough, and I got to start doing that more because it's very important what he does.
Boom. All right, call him out in the comments so he can come on. He might not be watching the show. So anyway, so that takes care of that. Moving on to other business. I'm just getting what do we got for time here? I'm getting so excited. We're about 45 minutes in. I'm just getting so excited for Contenders talk. I mean, I'm ready for it. I know you're probably not ready for it though.
No, I mean I could talk what's going on with the process. I'm not going to reveal any cigars, but there shouldn't be any surprises on the Coop list either, because every score is published. And on the Coop list, if this year, if you got a 90 or higher, which is different than previous years when it was 91 or higher, you're eligible for the coupe list. And if
Yep.
you meet all the other criteria. So, but you have to have that. The minimum score this year was, there are going to be some scores with a 90 that made the list this year.
So since my list is already public, I figure I can share that. We can talk about that
Yeah,
one. So
I
that
have
way you
a-
don't have to give away any of your
Yeah, I can tell you
stuff
what's
yet.
going on though. But yeah, let's talk about your list because I want to kind of get. Here's the question I have for you, and I didn't really ask you this directly yet. What decided a cigar is eligible to be a contender?
Hold on one second. Can you see my screen with
I
the
see it.
website?
I see it.
All right, cool. Sorry, say that again.
What, you have 25 cigars, right?
Yes.
What determined that? What kind of was the criteria to be eligible to make those 25? Was it any cigar? Was it smoked in a specific time? I'm trying to get a little sense of that.
The consensus on what we put on the list was pretty much so, as I stated, and I'll read it here actually since it's in front of me. I'll skip the first part. This year, the Smokin Tabacco Cigar of the Year will be chosen and voted upon internally by our team and a few others we have selected to help. We are beginning this process by announcing our top 25 cigars of 2021, which are in no particular order. We will then unveil the top 10 in order starting December 1st until the winner is announced by unveiling the final two. Taking into consideration our struggles of last year, as well as the pandemic, which altered the industry, we have chosen cigars released between the end of 2019 and the fall of 2021. However, going forward, to be eligible for Cigar of the Year, a cigar will have to have been released and on store shelves by the first day of that year's Premium Cigar Association trade
That's
show.
the coupe rule. That's the coupe rule. I like that.
Micro, store exclusive, subscription based, and personal releases are not eligible.
Same here.
It has to be a regular. It can be like a limited release from a
Right.
manufacturer. It just has to be on a large enough scale where it went out across the country.
Yep.
If it's like a single store exclusive, if it's like Abe does the the micro batches, the micro releases,
Yeah.
which are great, but unfortunately those cigars are not something I would count because it's kind of a little bit, it's more inaccessible to the majority of people around the country. Potentially, so stuff like that that people do. It's not a knock on those cigars. It's not that they're bad cigars. It's just we want to have cigars on that list that get spread around enough that the majority of people can actually have the opportunity to try them, or they're going to be a little bit more consistently released. Just try to keep things a little bit different. You know, I want to have stuff that's not so much just mainstream, but just it's just on a bigger scale. What went into these cigars on this list that I am going to show you in just a moment? They were cigars that the group of us have all smoked, or the majority of us had smoked and liked. That after talking about it, you know, we felt like this is a good cigar. This is why I liked it. Because, you know, obviously, as you guys know, we don't do reviews here. That is by choice and by design. There's enough of that going around right now, and I'd rather focus my time and energy on other things. So for us, it was stuff that we liked, stuff that we thought, you know, all around was a good cigar on multiple points in terms of just the quality, the construction, the flavor, just the burn, everything. It was a great cigar we felt was a contender. A cigar that was, you know, widely available, that was, you know, it met the other criteria of just of its availability. Stuff that, you know, we talked about it. We felt like this could be a contender. I'd like to see this on the list. The list was a little bit bigger, and then we had to kind of go through and whittle it down to 25 because I wanted to start at 25 publicly and then go down to 10. So they won't be ranked at the 25. They're only going to be ranked, you know, 10 through 1. So, and that's going to be a little bit different. That when we finally get down to our 10, that's going to be just kind of us taking this list, smoking all these cigars, and internally kind of just deciding on our own how we feel each one ranks, and putting a list together as a group, and then unveiling it. So that's kind of, I don't know if that fully answers your question, but that's kind of how we chose to do it.
You know what's funny? I didn't read the opening paragraphs, right? When you said that.
Of course you did. Nobody does.
Well, Matt, you would also shared this with me ahead of time. You'd also share. I mean, I think you tweaked a couple of things on the list, though. I think there was a cigar or two you swapped out, right? Since you gave me the list.
Yeah, because there was some cigars that There was one cigar on there that I really liked, but then I realized it wasn't released to the public yet, and I had to
Yeah.
take it off. And then there was another cigar that was on the list, and I took it off because it actually was it made it on its way to that list that was shown out previously to to you before the public.
Yep. Yep.
There was a cigar in there I actually did swap out because I had realized I made a mistake, and for some reason the cigar that belonged there somehow got removed accidentally. And then we were like, oh, wait. And we kind of forgot about it. And then we put another cigar in its place. And then I realized after, no, there was a mistake made and I had to swap that back. Other than that, the list hasn't really changed.
Yeah, it was pretty constant.
I'm going to zoom this in a little bit and then bring these down just so it's a
Yep.
little bit easier to read. So, and again, these are in no particular order. But our first few here are going to be the Rocky Patel 60 Toro. I strongly believe that's going to be a serious contender for everybody.
I think cigar
that
aficionado too.
I think that if you see two major outlets, whether it's print or online, give that cigar of the year a minimum 2, that's not going to be a shock. I definitely think that that's a strong favorite at Cigar Aficionado.
Yeah, they gave it some high scores. The Gordo actually got a 93.
So I think that that's definitely a serious contender.
I agree.
All Saints St. Francis Robusto is probably my favorite Robusto cigar of the year. I've smoked a lot of them. It's a great short smoke, a lot of flavor. It's perfectly balanced. It's complex. It's a great construction. That cigar also comes out of the Rocky Patel factory.
What a year Rocky's having. I agree.
So, I mean, those two cigars right there at the top alone, coming out of the same factory,
Yeah.
are some serious heavy hitters.
Yep.
All Saints St. Francis is arguably one of my favorites. I'm going to say this now. It's probably going to be on the top 10, and it probably won't be close to the bottom. Where exactly it ranks, I can't say yet because we don't officially know, but I do know it's probably on that list. Going down the line, Plasencia. We talk about Plasencia for a minute. I mean, Plasencia has put out some really interesting things. I only have one bone to pick with Plasencia, and I'll get to that after this point because I know you probably have some similar feelings. The Alma Fuerte Colorado Sixto that came out, the 6-sided cigar, the green band with a Colorado wrapper, great cigar. Love that cigar. I had it in Miami when we were down there in May for the first time. And then while I was down there in Florida, I think I smoked like 5 more. And then ever since I came back, every time I go to the cigar shop, I grab 1 or 2 more. And I love that cigar. I think it's great. Only gripe with Plasencia is I have felt that as good as the cigars are and the quality is great, I feel like the price is just a little bit too high.
They're supposedly using their top. Now, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
they're using some of their most aged tobacco in that Alma Fuerte blend. So that's kind of where, because I've actually interviewed Nestor, and he said it's not the packaging that drives up that price. He's saying it's the tobacco that drives up that price.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. When you're up at a $20 price point, you're competing with some heavy hitters. We all know who those are. So I totally agree with you on that.
I mean, just to put it right out in the open, I mean, you cigar at that price point, and this is kind of the same thing we saw with Ferry Otego, who's actually not on this list. Spoiler alert: Ferry Otego is not on the list, and I will explain that later. And I think Coop will also have a lot of good things to say about that too. But you put that cigar in a price point that you're competing with Davidoff, Atabey, Byron, Padron.
Davidoff,
Padron and Davidoff alone are 2 major manufacturers with major cigars that have been around a long time, that sell very well, that are of the utmost quality. So, and I'm not saying that it doesn't meet that same level. It is. It's just that's a tough place to be, when you compete for shelf space against some names like that. But it is a great cigar, and it is great quality too. It's not a knock on its quality. It's just an interesting price point for a brand of their size. Drew Estate Undercrown 10 Toro. I thought that that's another one that I feel could come out of nowhere and take a top spot on a couple of different people.
I think it's going to be more than that. I think it could win the consensus this year.
I mean, that cigar that really came out of nowhere. I remember when the freestyle live event happened, they were unbanded. No one knew what it was. I think you called it as a next underground.
I only there was a reason why I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't because of the blend. It was because of just timing. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, but regardless, I think it's great. To me, I'm a big Drew Estate guy. I've been a Drew Estate guy for a long time. Liga, Underground, the Herrera Esteli stuff, a lot of different lines that they have that are really great. And I think this is probably the best Underground cigar that they have to date. I think it's better than any other Underground that they have. It's a great cigar. I think it was cool the way they did the bands and the ribbons on it, the packaging.
They did a great job on that. And that cigar smokes, again, if you look at when it came out in May versus how it's smoking now with a little age on it. Yeah, that did very well in Coupe. It got a 91. So it's in play on the Coupe list. Yep.
So I definitely think that's another serious contender.
Yep.
For the top 10. Room 101's 11th anniversary torpedo. So if you smoke Room 101 regularly, I mean, Matt does a lot of different releases. He does a lot of small stuff. He's got some regular stuff. He's got his farce line. He's got the big payback line, and he's got some of his other stuff he does with other people. But his anniversary series is one that is it's interesting. It started at 10th anniversary, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we saw that last year. I thought that was a decent cigar. I liked the Farce Maduro better.
Yes.
I thought it was a better cigar.
Yep.
This year when the 11th anniversary came out though, in this Torpedo Vitola, I fell in love with it very quickly.
Yep.
I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think he had, and the only thing that sucks about it is it's a one-time run, but at least for this year, we felt it was worthy of being on the list just because there was enough available, and it was available for most of the year, and it's still technically available out there if you can find it. There's still retailers near me that still have it on the shelf, so
Yeah.
it's still out there. I'll warrant it for this year. Stuff like that might change a little bit going forward, but I wanted to have that on the list because I thought it was just such a great cigar. And I believe that one was made with AJ Fernandez, if I remember correctly.
I thought the 10 was AJ Fernandez and the 11 was unknown, or vice versa. But yeah,
I couldn't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But
now the 12th, I think, is even better than the 11th.
I actually have not had the 12th yet.
Yeah.
What happened? There we go. I haven't had the 12th yet, so I can't really comment on that myself.
Right, but I haven't reviewed it yet either. So, but I agree with you. I think the 11th was better than the 10th.
Absolutely, it was much better. Not that the 10th was a bad cigar.
Yeah.
I just think that the 11 was just much better.
Yeah.
And I think it really.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say.
And I just think it really hangs in there with the Room 101 feel a little bit more.
Yeah.
JC Newman's The American Double Robusto. You gave the American cigar of the year last year at Cigar Coupe.
On the Toro.
Yeah. This is another cigar. Nicole and I have smoked a bunch of them, and we really like the American a lot. I know you like the American because you gave it Cigar of the Year. But for us, it was just kind of a no-brainer. A great cigar, something a little bit different, made in America, right down in Tampa. It had to be on the list because of not only of its quality, but what it represents too. I just felt it was worthy of definitely being on that list. I think it holds a lot of its own.
Then that cigar, the Double Robusto, is the blend was significantly modified from what I understand for that size, and it does taste very different. I haven't reviewed it yet, but it's a little bolder.
It is
probably some of the other ones are.
Yep.
But a very good cigar too. But I haven't reviewed it to see. It will be reviewed probably early next year on the Coupe list.
And that was another reason why we felt it would be good on the list too, is because I felt mostly. I know you gave the Toro Cigar of the Year last year, but being still the American, but it being a lot different than the Toro, I felt like it had enough of its own legs to stand on to differentiate itself from the other size on just being a different size. It was a different experience enough that I felt like this needs to have its own run. And so I put that on the list there as well.
Yeah.
Um,
And I agree. And that's why I think Vitolas are important too. And this was a new Vitola that was released this year too. But I think that's why it's so important to be Vitola specific on these things.
Absolutely. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize that. That's a
Yeah.
very good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, well, I just drew a state underground 10. Well, what size? There's specific sizes and they all burn differently.
Yeah.
You know, it's the experience is different every time.
Yeah.
So you need to be specific when you go through a cigar. You're like, all right, well, which size? Well, which one was the best out of those?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a good point. Monte Cristo 35th anniversary Churchill.
Yep.
Monte Cristo is interesting because they have their core lines, which they're not bad. I don't smoke them a lot myself, but you know, if someone gives me one, I'll smoke it and I'll enjoy it. Some of the other stuff that they make though is just fire. I mean, it is just. I mean, the Monte by AJ Fernandez, arguably probably my favorite Monte Cristo cigar. The Torpedo, arguably my favorite. I love that cigar. It's fantastic. The Epic was great. I liked the Epic myself.
Yep.
The 35th anniversary I had earlier this year, and I was really blown away with it. And as I kept smoking it more and more, and then right as we started to kind of start this list, I smoked it again. I hadn't smoked it in like a couple of months. I smoked it again while I was down in South Carolina last month. And I just was like, this one's got to be on the list. I forgot about this cigar. It's just got a lot going for it. Have you smoked that cigar?
Yes. It's definitely in play on the coupe list. In the Churchill size.
In the Churchill size, yeah.
It scored very good. By the way, I missed this one. It's 1935 anniversary. Yeah, I missed this one totally.
I missed that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I always call it the 35th as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But let me tell you this. I mean, when I say this cigar, I think it's in contention on the coupe list. I think it's in contention on obviously the Smokin Tabacco list, and I think it's going to be in contention possibly on several other lists, including aficionados. I think this is top 10 on aficionado this year.
Cigar Authority also has it in its contenders.
I thought, and I'll say this, I think that was the strongest of their contenders. I don't think they give it to that though. But I thought of all their cigars they listed, that was, if I was voting, that's the one I would vote on. They had some good cigars on there too. And 3 of their cigars will make the coupe list this year.
The 3 of the cigars in the Cigar Authority contenders pack?
Yes.
Really? Interesting.
Yep.
Well, actually, the next one is, I believe, in their pack as well.
Yes, and I'll tell you, that's probably one that's going to make it too. So,
United Cigars Abuelo Padre.
Whoa, fantastic, sir.
Graham cracker, warm graham cracker with a little bit of toasted marshmallow. Just a real great flavor on there. Real great. Burned great quality.
Yeah. Dave got a winner for that one.
He did. He got really good with that.
I joked with him. I said, Justo should have kept it for himself. And I didn't mean it like glad for him, but that's how good that's, a lot of times when you see someone do a cigar for someone else, this is as good as any JRE cigar. And it's fantastic. And the Padres the size. The size you got to go with, is what I'll say. Yeah,
the Padre was great. I think I've smoked like 10 of them already.
I bought a box of them. I bought a box of these.
That's you did?
I put my money where my mouth is with this. Yeah, this is a very good cigar.
It's very good. I've enjoyed it. Definitely wanted to get that one on the list just because I was really blown away by it, and it was a cigar that really didn't get a lot of attention. And I was like, wow, that's a shame. Like, this should be like more people should be smoking this cigar. It's fantastic.
Aaron Nielsen and Bear and Ben fell in love with this cigar. Loomis, not as much, but he hates everything, right? But right. But Ben and Bear and Aaron Nielsen were going crazy on this cigar. So we have like an internal group chat. I can just tell you, this cigar was the topic of many chat sessions. In a positive way.
Moving on down the list, we have our great friends McAuliffe Cigars made the list this year with the A Churchill. Arguably, I think this is the best cigar that McAuliffe makes. It's been a winners for them so far. It's been hard for them to keep in stock. It's just been it's a huge favorite among the ambassador group. Really flavorful. Carney, it's funny. Carney had this cigar when it first came out. He had it right before I did. And I asked him about it, and he was like, "Dude, you know what this cigar reminded me of?" And I was like, "What?" He's like a major cigar. There's another, and I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "You're never gonna guess." I'm like, "What is it?" And he was like, "It almost tastes like the Arturo Fuente and Yeho." And I said,
Interesting.
"Really?" I didn't quite get that, but that's actually what Carney took from that. Which, and I like bringing it up because it's a very
Yeah.
interesting take.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
He took the Arturo Fuente and Yeho from that.
I haven't thought about that. This cigar is very good. It made the Coupe list last year at number 18.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a very good cigar. It's I think
Great price point too.
now
I think it's like $8.49.
It is mixed filler. That's
It
what
is.
people. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's great tobacco in that cigar, and they got a good mix. It's one. I was going to say it's one of the greatest mixed filler cigars ever made. I'll tell you that.
Mhm.
That's how good it is. I love that cigar. And the Gordo came out as well, so I haven't reviewed the Gordo. I think the Churchill's probably. I'd still give the edge to the Churchill probably over the Gordo, but the Gordo's very good too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Gordo was nice, but
Yeah.
still the Churchill
Yeah.
for me was like,
Yeah.
wow. Now it wasn't released. It's kind of one of those, like, if you know someone, you can get them, but they're not actually available for sale. The little A's, the lowercase a they call it, the real short small ones that they make. We have some of those that we got from them. Those are fun little smoke. It doesn't qualify for the list, and I still like the Churchill better. But I thought that was cool that they came out with that small little size. Have you had those, the lowercase a?
I have not.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard things about them. I'm sure they did a great job with that size as well. Which is like, I think, and that's perfect to kind of have. I guess they're using it as a personal. I don't want to say it's an event cigar, but it's kind of like a personal blend that I think the reps give out.
Absolutely, yeah, that is how they do it.
And I like that. I like that approach that they're doing. But yeah, like I said, that cigar. Look, when it came out, I didn't know it was mixed filler when I even rated it at number 18, and that wouldn't have mattered. When I found out, I wasn't totally surprised, is what I'll say, but I was surprised. I never cut the thing, but I never thought enough to cut the thing open either, right? And I've cut open cigars and guessed if they're like mixed filler, and I've been right a lot. But that one, I didn't even think to cut it open.
No, it's an interesting.
Someone did. If someone did, I'm like, wow. And McAuliffe actually did say it was. They just didn't make a big deal about it because the blend is a great blend.
Right.
Yeah, and that says a lot to what they're doing to come up with a cigar like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a positive. Just want to say it's a positive.
The next one on this list is the Arturo Fuente Rare Pink bestseller. Bestseller is the size. Most likely you've probably seen it in the Hemingway line from the really core Arturo Fuente collection. That's a cigar that came out last year around this time, and it came out as a catalyst for raising money for breast cancer awareness. That was kind of really spearheaded a lot with Liana, as well as like Carlito.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's been really popular and it's done really well. We got a box of them last year. And after smoking that cigar, I was like, wow, it's such a different blend. It's really unique. Interesting flavor. I actually forgot about that box and I let it sit for a good 6 or 9 months. I smoked them again and I was like, wow, these are really well. They age really well. They do.
I didn't like the size.
You didn't like the size?
Too small.
Too small.
It was too small. Especially if you get a chance to try the work of art or the happy ending, you'll appreciate what I'm saying. But I did not like this size.
Yeah, we've had the other sizes. The other sizes are pretty good. I think for me, that was the first one I had. So I think my mind just locked onto it. And I was just like, wow.
Yep.
I liked it. I don't smoke a lot of smaller cigars. But for me, I've been trying to, more, just because I feel like I don't give them enough appreciation. And out of all the shorter cigars that I had, I felt this one was probably the best that I had. Just the way it was blended, the way it burned, it's the construction, the whole thing. For the quality, for what it was, I this has got to be one of my favorite smaller cigars that's currently available, and that came out within the last year and a half. So I really just felt it was worthy to be on this list because it's a great cigar in a small size. I mean, to me, and the fact that you disagree is fine.
Yeah,
That's why
no,
we're here.
that's why we're here. No, that's why we're here.
And so I'm really excited to have that one on the list. I think that one might do pretty good as well. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see kind of how that one ends out. Next, I have Cavaliers, Viso Jalapa Toro. Have you had any of the Cavaliers yet?
I've smoked a lot of Cavalier. I smoked this one down in Miami. What I'll say is when I smoked it down in Miami, I had my palate was shot that day.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to make any sort of a judgment, good or bad. But I do like what Sebastian's doing at Cavalier a lot. And this cigar, I know Bear is a big fan of this cigar.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Bear actually was really the guy who turned me on to Cavalier. And Sebastian, great guy, fantastic guest to have on your show. If you haven't had
Friendly
him on.
guy, yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, super guy. And he hasn't, like I said, I think he hasn't done anything with the Viso Jalapa, and that's kind of the whole thing with this. But like I said, I smoked it. The problem is it was the last cigar of the day, and I really didn't give it its justice. So I can't make an opinion positive or negative, but I would lean towards positive with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I felt, I'd smoked Cavalier for the first time when I was down in when I was with Abe actually in Boynton Beach. We were at Smokin in Boynton Beach and we were with Abe, and I saw that he carried them, and so I got a little sampler of all of them. And out of all of the Cavaliers that I had, I thought that one was the best. So my mind went back to it, and so when I bought more and I smoked them again, it was the Cavalier, the Viso Jalapa. And I thought it was a great cigar. I thought it was just kind of different than what was kind of going around. And I revisited it again during the trade show. And again, I was like, I really love this cigar. Great quality. I love the flavor on it, and definitely rich. And I was like, this cigar is definitely. I just remember smoking, being like, wow, this cigar is definitely. This one's a winner for me. It really is. And Nicole had it. She really liked it. This one was kind of a no-brainer for us too, to get to have them on the list. And I agree with what you said. They've done some great stuff over there, Cavalier. So I'm excited to see what else they do in the future.
Yep, I did too. I like they have the Prospector coming out early next year, I think too. It's another blend they had at the show.
Yeah, that's gonna be it. That one's gonna be a good one as well.
Yep.
Davidoff Dominicano Toro. So with this cigar, I don't know if many people know. This cigar, from what I understand, is what replaced the 702 series, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, but this was a limited release. But kind of, I guess that's the best way to put it. Is it did like when Davidoff releases something, what they quietly do is they pull something out,
Right?
Because they only have a finite amount of SKUs they want to have. So I think if you want to say, but I think this is kind of one of these like limited production things. Like I've been trying to get this cigar again. Particularly, and I was more of a fan of the short Robusto with it, but I've been trying, and it's been hard to find this cigar.
I know where you can get some. I'll talk to you after.
Okay, we'll talk. Yeah, because I do want to review this cigar. I smoked when I went to. Okay, I had this at Smokin when I went back in May, right after you were there.
Yep.
So I smoked it, and it was a good cigar. I did not smoke the Toro, but I had the short Robusto.
Yeah, no, the Robusto I had, and I liked it. I liked the Toro better. I'm more of and like I said, I'm more of a Toro, Churchill, Gordo smoker anyway. From time to time, I find a good Robusto like that All Saints St. Francis, and it gets me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow. Like I
was
actually
happy
like how small it is.
Davidoff was in a slump for me, and when this cigar came out, it kind of said to me, Davidoff was back because I thought they were in a major slump, Davidoff, for a while.
I think they were just in a weird place. They had a lot of different things changing.
They were re-releasing these limiteds, and they re-releases weren't as good as the originals. But this one was like, wow, this was something that really got my, like, I remember smoking it the night I was at Smokin, and I really enjoyed it. So but I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to get. So appreciate the lead on that too. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, you got it? I texted you.
Yeah.
The El Septimo King Sargon.
Did not smoke this one. I want to hear about this one.
This one was good. So the thing with El Septimo, we were introduced to El Septimo. When I say that, not just me and Nicole and everyone smoking tobacco, I also speak for the Coop team as well. We were really introduced to this at PCA this year.
Yeah.
It was the first time they were at PCA. It was the first time we could really see them, get hands-on, see the products, and talk to Zaya and just kind of get a feel for what they're all about. They've been around for a little bit of time, mostly in other parts of the world. They're making their entrance into the U.S. market this year. My take on El Septimo as a whole is it's an interesting brand. They have some decent cigars. I don't think that they all really warrant the very high price tag that they have. I think that's more of just, I don't think that their price point really is a reflection on the tobaccos themselves. I think it's more of a reflection on just how they want to be. They want to be a high-end brand.
Well, they're making in Costa Rica as well, which is not cheap to make cigars.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. But to be fair, I mean, even with what they're asking for some of their cigars, it's a little bit higher than what I think it should be for some comparable cigars that are out there. In my opinion, and the opinions of several other people on the Smokin Tabacco team, outside of just me and Nicole, who just we after it's like it's good. It's a good cigar. I would smoke it again, but like just I don't know. I feel like it should. I'm not saying it should be a $12 cigar, but I'm just saying like it's just a little. I mean, they have some that are $80 a stick, and I'm just like that's. I mean, for what it is, I mean, I've smoked those cigars before. I've smoked cigars that were $140 a piece. I've smoked $300 cigars before. We can get in a whole show on high price cigars, and that's a whole conversation itself. I just didn't feel it was really warranted in that range. But the King Sargon is a new release that they're coming out with that is a little bit lower on the price point. It's going to probably attract more people, obviously. Having smoked all of the other cigars that they have, like in their diamond collection and all that, this is a pretty good cigar. It's a solid cigar. It kind of changed for me, like looking at the rest of the El Septimo collection when I smoked this, and I was like, wow, this is a little bit more like it's different from kind of where they're at, you know what I mean? Or where they were. And this cigar for me I was like, you know what? If there's one cigar from El Septimo that I actually really enjoy, and I think it hits all the right notes outside of just its construction, its burn, its flavor, and all that, it's a really well-rounded cigar. And I wanted to put it on the list because I wanted to see how it did too. This is a huge thing. I wanted to see how it did perform against these other cigars when put up against them. Just because it is so new and it is so different. I wanted to see kind of where this one would rank among some of the heavy hitters on this list. Moving right along, HVC Hotcake, the Grand Canyon.
Oh, this was a great size release to this cigar.
Oh, this cigar was great. Loved this. Me and Nicole both liked it. I got a lot of rosemary at the beginning of this cigar. A lot of rosemary is what I picked up on it. It was such a different flavor note, and not only just on the taste, but on the aroma as well. That's what I picked up for it. And I really enjoyed it. And rosemary is not something that I love. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So it's not like I'm like, ooh. It was just I really appreciated like that's what I picked up on it. It was so different from a cigar. Like I never picked up something like that from a cigar before. I'm like, oh, it's such a distinctive smell and taste to have in a cigar. And for some reason, it just made that cigar. It made everything else but the cigar like kind of tie together, and I loved it. HVC has done some really awesome stuff. Their Black Friday collection has been out of this world. This year's release,
I smoked it down in Miami. I liked it.
very good,
Yeah.
very good. I would say, I think, in my opinion, it's the strongest of the Black Fridays that has come out so far.
Yes.
I thought it was really good. So that's definitely another one to keep an eye on for next year. But the hot cake, I mean, it's selling like hotcakes. I mean, a lot of retailers I go into, they can't keep them in stock. They're flying off the shelves.
Yeah, the hot cake is on the bubble on the Coop list right now. It could make it, but not the Grand Canyon. It's the short Robusto as well.
Yep.
This one came out past the trade show, so it wasn't eligible. But I'm telling you, this is the best size I've had of the hot cake. If you are a 60 ring gauge, I hate using the H word, hater. Take that hater thing off and give this cigar a smoke. This is an example of a great 60 ring gauge cigar. Rainier did it right with this one.
Absolutely.
This is gonna be a monster hit for him, I think too. This is a great cigar.
The next one down on the list is the Jake Wyatt Lithium
Yes.
Bellicoso.
Yes.
I'll let you go first because I could tell you're excited.
Okay. If there's a company I've been most excited about in the last year and a half, it's Jake Wyatt. I love what they're doing.
Yep.
I love their blends. I love their artesian work. I love their packaging. I love the names. We had Gerard on the show, as well as I know you had Gerard. Gerard's awesome.
Yep. Great guy.
I did not get to talk to these guys at the trade show, and we were all kicking ourselves. Ben Bear and myself have been. This is another brand that is very much being talked about by us. Bear is particularly high on the lithium. I really like the lithium as well. I did not have the Bellicoso, but I love this blend. And it's a great everyday cigar. Don't keep your eye out on Jake Wyatt and this lithium brand as well. I'm very impressed with this. This is a good cigar. I'm sure the Bellicoso is really good too, based on what I've smoked from the lithium.
Yeah, the brand is still young, and they've done a great job so far.
In a pandemic, they launched their brand. I mean,
that's that's a good point.
What a job these guys have done.
Gerard has done a really great job of. Remember, he also runs a retail establishment. He runs Mardo Cigar. But the fact that he was able to also just launch a whole brand and put so much focus on that.
Something different. I mean, that's what's really good about this. This is a brand, if you haven't paid attention to them, start paying attention to Jake Wyatt.
Yeah, I remember being in South Carolina, seeing it on shelves and being like, wow, it's getting out there. And it's and seeing it, I haven't really seen it up here yet, but in other parts of the country, I'm starting to see it on shelves, and I'm like, wow, this is really exciting. Thought it was a great cigar. I mean, he's done some really interesting stuff with some of his other cigars, but when the lithium came out, I remember hearing about it. I was like, oh, I really want to try this. And I was finally able to get them this year, and I was really blown away with it. I thought it was really, like you said, it was different.
Yeah.
It's done really well. Even the packaging. I mean, the bands it's black and gold. There are colors. So I mean, I have to love it. The whole thing. I thought it was great, and I was really excited to put this one on the list because
I think this one is a sleeper.
This one's another sleeper too. I agree.
Yeah.
The next one on this list is a cigar that the first time I had it, I just was so turned off. I first had the cigar when it first came out. I was at Twin Smoke Shop. I had one, and I just was like, oh, it's just like way too peppery. Like it was real peppery, like my father peppery. And I was like, wow, that's weird. And it was just like, it's not what I expected. And I just kind of remember writing it off and being like, ugh. And then a few months later, I go down to Florida, and we were at Aganorsa with Terrence, and he pulled them out, and I was like, oh, and I was like, Terrence, I'll be honest with you, I was really disappointed by this. And he was like, why? And I was like, well, and I kind of told him what I felt, what I tasted, what I didn't like about it, and told him like where and when I had it. And he was like, well, he's like, try it again. I was like, all right. And I had it again, and I don't know what it was, but that cigar was completely different. It was not like the first one I had at all. So much less pepper on it, like way less. and I was like, wow. I'm like, I was just, this cigar is great. Like, I love it. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with that first one I had, but this cigar is great. And now that I said, all right, so I started to grab them more and more when I was out and about. And I'm like, yeah, this is the consistency I was looking for. And it's been like that ever since. And it is a great cigar. And I think it's a great release. And they've done a great job with that too. They have another cigar on this list coming up too that also is been interesting too. And those are two cigars that they've been working with over the last 2 years or so that have really just been solid winners. The other one being the Supreme Leaf, but we'll get to that one when we get down there. I thought it was a great cigar after giving it a second chance. And this is a good example of why you should give cigars multiple chances. If you smoke a cigar once and you really didn't like it, that's fine, but give it some time and then try it again, because these things happen. It changes, and then you're like, oh, well, I love the cigar now. I don't know what happened. Maybe that first one was a dud. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was underage. I don't know. But you give something a second chance and you're like, all right, and you keep trying it and it stays consistent. You're like, all right, well, you write off that first one as a dud. That's really all I can say about this one. It came back for me, and then it became a cigar that I really enjoyed.
A couple points. You need to put a size on this one. I just realized.
Yeah, I did. I missed that one.
But so this blend is very different than what Aganorsa has been putting out for the past few years. This is more of a Criollo heavy blend as opposed to a Corojo heavy. And the last few years, they've been much more on the Corojo. They have done Criollo blends in the past, but in recent years, it's been more focused on the Corojo. So this is more Criollo focused. This was very inconsistent for me, this cigar, is what I'll say. It when it was reviewed, it didn't score great, which I was a little surprised about. So I spoke the Toro size. I want to give the other two sizes a review. It certainly warrant. I think the Gordo also is the best size of this one. I just didn't get a chance to.
I liked the Gordo the most.
I think the Gordo is the one on. I think it's called the Titan.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is very different than the Aganorsa leaf cigars folks have been smoking the last few years. Is what I'm going to tell you, because of the tobacco is a different emphasis here. So it's certainly one. Like I said, I've had an inconsistent experience with it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not surprised to hear you say that. For me, it's been consistent so far as I've continued to smoke them, but
it is important to give. I mean, I could tell you, I could list tons of cigars that I had bad first impressions and have actually scored well and made top 15s. So go figure that. Yeah.
I mean, that's and it's interesting that you say that too, and that also kind of, I think, plays along with what I said in the beginning, and it shows it. This, what, maybe the cigar does have some more inconsistency than I originally, or not maybe originally, but now realize. And it's not hard for me to believe. I mean, and just smoking them, it's definitely one to watch. I don't know if this one will make the top 10, but the consistency that I've had the last couple of months with it was enough for it to make the top 25.
Yep.
I don't know if it'll make it to the next round.
Yep.
La Flor Dominicana's 25th anniversary. This is really the only major new release that they've had.
This one was released a couple of years ago.
Yeah. It's going back a little bit, but I wanted it to be on the list because LFD really hasn't done much the last few years, and they've been more focused on just their inventory with this pandemic and everything. But it was on our list last year, which that didn't really run well. So I wanted to give it a second chance because I thought it was really good. Great flavor. I liked the size. It was only available in one size. It was almost like a Churchill.
Yeah.
Or double
Corona, maybe.
Double Corona. Yeah. I knew it was a longer stick. It was one size, but it was great. It's not. I don't think it's going to be continuing production. I think it's
a good cigar. They should really reconsider that.
They I talking to John, there's some being made, but I don't think there's much more coming from it, from what I understand. So it's good enough to make the list now, but if I didn't get it on the list this year, it probably never would have made it. And I thought it was a really great cigar, and I wanted to see where it ranked with everyone else. So
it just missed the coupe list last year. It fell below the bubble, and there was a lot of competition. But but that's certainly, I didn't get a chance to review it in this year's cycle, but it is a very, very good. It's a standard of excellence cigar. It's certainly, like I said, if I was them, if they could get the tobacco, I would seriously consider making this an annual release or a semi, every few years or something. It's a really good blend. This cigar, and supposedly it's based on Andalusian Bull.
Yes.
But I think it actually smokes better than Andalusian Bull.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Bull. And if you smoke it, you'll taste that. You'll definitely pick up on that right away.
But it's still different enough, is what I'll say too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's different enough to give you a different feel.
Yeah.
It's a different cigar, but if you like the Bull, you'll have a hard time disliking the cigar.
Yeah.
The next one on the list has already won a few Cigar of the Year awards from
It's
last
a great
year.
cigar. Yeah.
The Perdomo 10th Anniversary Maduro Epicure. Here's what I'm going to say about this. It's interesting that this particular cigar made the list, and it has nothing to do with the awards it's already won with anyone else. This is basically just on how we feel about it. Personally, myself alone too, I'm not a big Perdomo Maduro smoker. For me, it's been about the Sungrowns and the Connecticut's. They've done an awesome job. Great quality, great price point. Perdomo, they're a class act. But this 10th anniversary Maduro, I think for him, it changed my Maduro taste with Perdomo.
A lot of people, yeah.
And you don't see a lot of Perdomo Maduros being highlighted. Then all of a sudden, this one came out, and it took everyone by storm. It had to be on my list for that reason. It was a Maduro that we both felt was like, wow, for Perdomo, this has to be on the list. I mean, this is probably the best Maduro that they've come out with, in my opinion, and Nicole's opinion, even some other people in the circle that were like, wow, this Maduro really turned it around for Perdomo for me, and that's why it's on the list. Great cigar. I have a hard time seeing this one not make the top 10, just because it's just been a home run. It really has.
Yeah, I am a Perdomo Maduro fan over the years.
Yeah.
I would put this in the elite. That and the ESV Maduros, which those are the two. I mean, he's been knocking at, and I like Champagne Noir, right? And that's what this replaced. And he gave me this cigar down in Nicaragua, and I'm like, wow, this blows away Champagne Noir. I mean, and Cigar Authority was their number one cigar, right? Was there? And
yes.
they never give Maduro as number one, from what I understand.
Not generally.
Not generally, but yeah, so rarely. So, it's gotten accolades. It's definitely in play for a high spot on the Coop list this year as well. So this is a fantastic. This is an incredible cigar he's done.
The next one is the Tatuaje Cajonu 2021. Some of the other Cajonos that Pete has put out over the years have just been really good, phenomenal. My favorite, I think, is the 2012 that I've had. It's just like, oof. This one came out, and I thought it was really solid. I've been getting more and more into Tatuaje the last year. This one I really enjoyed. The other ones were the T110s, specifically the Sumatra. I really liked that cigar as well. But for me, this one was just a little bit better. I liked this cigar, and the few people that kind of went into making this list that had it were like, that's got to be it for me. Kind of simple decision. I don't know if you've had this cigar, what your take is on it, but for me, it was a great release.
Meh. It's kind of like my reaction to it.
Okay.
I've only smoked it once.
Okay.
So I don't. Again, it's just like you just was talking about with Rare Leaf earlier. I can't base it on one cigar.
Right. That's fair.
I do like the size, and I like the I like the tapered.
Yeah.
I like the tapering for 58 ring gauge. I wish there were more people that did big ring gauge with the tapering.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, I can't judge this on one smoke of it either, and I do have more of it. So, stay tuned on that. But it was good to see the Cajono come back this year.
Right.
It's been 9 years since there's been a Cajono release. So
yeah.
It was very good to see it. So it's one I'll certainly give its due diligence on.
Right. Yeah, no, it was nice to see it come back.
Yeah.
Some of the, like I said, some of the other ones that Pete had come out with, had always, for the most part, been really good. I've always enjoyed them. Especially the 2012, I think has probably been my favorite of that collection. It's
There
just,
was several 2012s. There was like a Habano, Sumatra, and a broadleaf.
yeah,
And
the
I thought they were
broadleaf.
all
I'm
good.
sorry, the broadleaf.
I thought they were all good. Yeah, the broadleaf was great
Yeah, the
as well.
broadleaf. I'm sorry. Yeah, that one was definitely my favorite.
Yeah,
I fell in love with that one.
yeah.
Um,
That was a great series he did in 12.
yeah, it was really good. Aganorsa Leaf, Supreme Leaf Torpedo. Now the Supreme Leaf has been around for the last couple of years. It's gone through, it's had different iterations. The Torpedo I felt was great. Last year's was, nah. The year before that was pretty good. So I was a little disappointed with last year's release. And then this one came out, and I was kind of like, all right, this is getting better again. So there's been some inconsistencies with the Supreme Leaf releases. I will say that. But the Torpedo, for me, I felt was starting to kind of go back in the right direction.
Robusto, which was I did really like the Robusto that they did.
Mhm.
That will be in play on the coupe list. The Corona Gorda was a miss.
Yep.
I haven't smoked the Torpedo yet. Ben loved the Torpedo. So, and then there's also there were actually four. They did four in like 3 years.
Yeah.
There's a Toro, which I didn't smoke the Toro. So, but I didn't like the Corona Gorda. I thought the Corona Gorda just didn't work in that blend. But Ben loved the Torpedo. He gave it a very good review. So, like I said, and here's the other thing. That cigar needed a lot of aging on it when I smoked the Robusto. Like when I first smoked it off the truck, it wasn't great, but putting those aside for a few months, it was really something special. So I'm excited about the Torpedo. I haven't, like I said, I have the Torpedo. I haven't smoked it yet.
The next one, as we narrow down towards the end of the list, the JC Newman Yagua. This is an interesting cigar. If you haven't seen it, it's certainly different, but it tastes great. And I got one last year, and I only got one. I got it from someone. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And I kind of forgot about it. I actually had two, but Nicole smoked the other one on me, and then I kind of just forgot about it. And then when they came back around this year, I was lucky enough to get a box of them, and we both smoked them. I was like, wow, this is great. It's different. Did you get a chance to smoke the Yaguas?
Yeah, in fact, I reviewed it last year. And spoiler alert: in the next couple of days, there's another review coming out of this year's edition. I thought this year's edition smoked a lot better. It's a solid cigar, for sure. And so I think they made some improvements with the blend. It lost some. It was a little harshness in the second half of that cigar the first year. So I think this is it's a unique cigar. It's a cigar that I think the mistake I made last year is I left them in the bundle in the bunch last year.
With
This year I
the
pulled,
with the leaf wrapped around it?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
pulling them apart was the way to do it.
Yeah.
So even when I did so, this is a good cigar, but it's again, you want a unique cigar. It's an old school cigar.
It is.
So it tends to lose some points with me because it's not an overly complex cigar, but it's a very good cigar. It's a cigar I'd buy and smoke again for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's old school. I think it's nice to have that on the list. It is something that's so different. And like I said, we really loved
Yep.
the ones from this year. I thought they were great. They are a single release though for the year, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they only can produce those like once a year.
Yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
little tricky to find.
Yeah.
If you might still have a chance right now, if you wait any longer, you probably won't find any from this year's batch. You do have a chance to win one.
Sure.
I think there's one in the bundle for the last giveaway of the
Yeah, it
of
definitely
the
works. It's definitely a prize worthy cigar. For sure.
yeah.
I don't have a
Um,
problem with this being a contender either. Like I said, it scored a little less on the way we do scoring on Coop. I think it hurt it a little bit, but not that it's a cigar. Hey, I'd recommend this cigar in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Absolutely. The next one is I always get this wrong. I'm horrible with pronunciation. What's the pronunciation on this one? Letelier?
L'Atelier. Yeah.
Letelier. The 4.5 by 46. I first grabbed this cigar.
This size is the new. Like they've had a 46, but this is a newer size.
Yes.
Yes. And I like this size a lot.
Me too. I really like this.
This is where I kind of get on Pete. You got to promote some of these releases a little better because this one is really under the radar with a lot of folks.
It is. This is one of those cigars that people like. First of all, people don't know about it, and then the second half is like people see it, they don't even realize it came from Pete.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't even know who this is. I'm like, it's Pete Johnson.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because it's great, and it just you're right. It flew under the radar.
It did.
But
and I love L'Atelier as a brand too. I think it's one of his better brands he's got out there.
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
This one was just simple. It was a home run.
Yep.
I thought it was the perfect package. It was well balanced, good quality, burned right, tasted right. Flavor transitions were on point. Just a solid cigar. And I just had to have it on the list. Next up, Aladino Corojo Reserva, which I love as a whole anyway. Box press Figurado that was shown to us at the PCA trade show this year. I thought it was really good. I liked the box press Figurado. I know a lot of people, they had some mixed feelings on it, but I really liked it. My favorite Corojo Reserva of all time is the number 4. That's still my favorite, but this box press Figurado I thought was a pretty solid release. What was your take on it?
Yeah, well, Corojo Reserva Robusto won Cigar of the Year in 2018 for me.
Oh, that's right.
The Toro was number 4 last year. So I mean, this has done very well. Number 4 is excellent. Box press Figurado, I think I haven't reviewed this. This is an excellent cigar. For sure, it's like I said, it's something that would be eligible next year on the coupe list.
Yep.
I love that he box pressed this, and I love he did a Figurado with this blend. I love this blend. This is to me, this is Aladino's. This is their top of the line. It's a great cigar. And here's the thing: all those Corojo Reservas smoke different.
They do.
They do, and that is so. Some like you said, you like the number 4. The number 4 was strong. That was a strong cigar.
Yeah.
And so like I said, you can't go wrong with this line.
I mean, I tend to smoke stronger as a whole anyway, so that's why I liked it. But
yeah, this is excellent. This cigar.
Rounding out the list, our final 2. The Camacho Factory Unleashed. You know, Camacho is a brand that I really enjoyed the Connecticut, and I really enjoyed the Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm.
And this one came out, and I was like, okay, another Camacho, and I really liked it. And I don't know, I don't know why, because I know people are gonna ask me, well, why? I don't know why. For some reason, I kind of went into it just like feeling underwhelmed. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I felt. And I don't even know why. I just remember like, I don't know, like, meh. But then I smoked it, and I was like, not what I thought. I thought they did a great job with it. I thought that it was a solid release. It was a little bit different than some of the other Camachos from the past that I had really enjoyed, and the ones I really didn't like. It was a little different. Now, for me, I've been fortunate enough to be able to find some of the old Camachos, the original pre-Davidoff Camachos that came from the Aroa family, which are completely different and are great. And I'm sure you've had plenty of those in your time as well. And I still have some that I found. I found some at a local shop. They were just kind of out and about, and I was like, oh, can I grab these? And they're like, yeah, they're for sale. And I took like 5 of them. But they're old, man. They're old, but they're good. They're not musty, not yet. I think I got a couple left, but no, I thought this was a solid release. I don't know. Have you had the Factory Unleashed? I think you reviewed this, didn't you actually?
Yeah, I'm just looking to see. I give it an 87. It was it didn't smoke like a Camacho at all,
It was
right?
definitely different.
They used Ecuadorian Corojo on that as opposed to Honduran Corojo, which they call original Corojo, which is from those original seeds, kind of analogous to authentic Corojo. But they went Ecuadorian Corojo, which I thought was interesting with it.
Yeah.
It's not it's not a bad cigar for the price. As well. It didn't, like I said, it didn't get an overly high rating. Ben liked this cigar more than I did. He gave it an 88. But a lot of people did like this cigar.
It's done well from the retailers that I've spoken to.
Yeah, it's done well, and like I said, it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with coming out with something a little different out of the wheelhouse with it. It's just the weird thing is it didn't really represent what that factory does. But you look at it on the other hand, saying, okay, it represents the innovation of the factory because they went something a little different. So I kind of, that part I do get, and then part of it I don't get. But it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't my favorite Camacho, but it wasn't terrible. 87 is not a bad score.
And the last one on the list is the 724 Factory 57 Churchill. 724.
This was a surprise. So this one was the one I was the most surprised about. I'm just not because it's a bad cigar. I'm just curious, and it's not a bad cigar. I'm just curious, what about this cigar in this size?
724. So I think for me it's a little different because 724 is Kurt Kendall's brand. For those who don't know, he is the owner of Twin Smoke Shop and the 724 Lounge up in here in New England and New Hampshire. So it's a brand that I've been around for a long time. I'm actually going to stop my screen share now because we're kind of done with this.
Yep.
It's a brand that's been around for a little while. It's more locally known for us. It's a brand we get to smoke a lot. Just being, going up to Twins and grabbing 724. They're doing a great job as a whole, I would say. They're doing a great job getting that brand out there more, and they've done some really cool stuff. I would say if I had to pick between the two, there was actually, so one of the cigars that actually had to be removed from the list, because I had originally didn't realize it hadn't even gone out yet, was the Hustler 5 and Dime that they showcased at PCA this year, which I thought was a fantastic cigar. If it came down to the two of them, I think the 5 and Dime I would take first. I thought that cigar was just fantastic. It was just so well rounded. The flavor on it was just incredible, real chocolatey, real sweet. But that has not gone out yet. But this cigar I thought was really good too. It was a solid release. And I love the 724 stuff, all of it. I mean, even go ahead.
That's a new size. The Churchill is a new size.
It's a new size. Yep.
Yep.
So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer, and and I like Churchills too, and I'm a longer smoke kind of guy, and I enjoy the longer smoke on it. So for me, it was just something that I felt was really I just felt strongly about having it on the list. So,
I didn't smoke this size. I'm kind of curious. Actually, I'm kind of curious about this. I like this blend. It's kind of based on the original 724, but it uses a Nicaraguan wrapper on it. I like this cigar. I think this is Kurt's most underrated line for sure.
I think so
that
too.
The 1874 are the two I'd say fly under the radar.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, a lot of people get focused on like the core 724 line, which is not bad either. But if you're a 724 smoker, definitely step outside and see some of the other stuff that Kurt's got going on, because it's really good stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's done a really great job of really expanding that brand and trying to get it out there more.
Yeah, I think 5 and Dime is going to be a game changer for him too.
Oh, I think so too. I think that's really going to change the game, and it's going to be a smash hit when it finally does get out to the public.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just so good. I think I have one left. I think, because I got a couple of them when I was out at BCA too, which was great. But that's it. That's our top 25 for Smokin Tabacco. And like I said, the top 10, in order will be revealed on December 1st, starting with number 10. I think there's a lot. Putting these lists together, what I'll say is it's not easy.
No.
And people will see the list, and people are like, and we talk about this all the time. People see the list, they see what's on it, they see what's not on it, and they go like, why is this not on there? Oh, why'd that make that list? You know what? It's not easy.
No.
But everyone does it differently. And before the list does go out, it gets reviewed by everyone here, and we felt strongly about what was on the list. That's what we put out. You don't have to agree, you don't have to disagree. That's fine. That's just kind of what we felt, and it's all interpretation. And Coop, I know you'll echo that too. It's not easy to do, but that is our list. And
right. And there's going to be cigars on the Coop list that you're going to look at saying that cigar didn't hit me. You'll say it. Other people will say it. You'll get the complaints. Like, this industry loves to whine. And I get tons of complaints. And there's always, as I said, your cigar didn't make it for one of two reasons. It didn't meet the eligibility criteria, or it wasn't that good. And they'll ask me which one. I said, you really want to hear the answer? So, right. So you don't want to do that, but that's like a lot of people. When I moved the date to anything post PCA, anything that's not on the shelves of PCA, that I think threw a lot of people for a loop. But it was the right. I think it was I just couldn't make it work any other way, to be fair about it. So I like. And like you said, I think you need a 2-year window, which Cigar Coop uses a 2-year window of cigars reviewed in the last. So it has to be released in that 2-year window, but reviewed in the past calendar year. That's the other thing. So after that, then it gets interesting. And so you're not going to rank 11 to 25. You're going to have
no.
So you'll have so you're going to do a daily review or every other day? How are you going to do it?
It's kind of like every other day kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. The Coop list will be daily starting on the 10th of December.
Yeah, like I said before, we wanted to do something different. I figured I'd announce the top 25, but only rank the top 10.
Yeah, I only saw one other person do that, but not exactly the same as you did. The only other guy I see who announces what is in contention. Well, two other people, obviously Cigar Authority, and then Boston Jimmy at Stogie Press kind of does that as well. But he has like 3 lists. He has he rates the list based on the size of the cut. So he has like 3 lists, and then he picks an overall winner. So I think it's kind of a unique way to do it in a lot of ways. I used to do honorable mentions, and no one cares about honorable mentions. I mean, so I think the way you're doing it's kind of a way to care about the honorable mentions, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it still made it to a solid core list. How it boils down will be different. And there'll be stricter criteria for what makes the top 10 and who gets the winner. So that's just kind of how we're doing it. I wanted it to be different. So that's it. That's our list. And I wanted to do it this way on the show. Just because I wanted to
it's fun to kind of talk about it too. I think it's so.
Yeah.
And I like when we start rolling out the Coop list, we could do some Monday morning quarterbacking along the way with it too. I think it'd be kind of fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it was a great way to just kind of get it out there. But that's it. So stay tuned for more on that. We'll start ranking them on the first. Don't forget to catch our giveaway. Head over to our social media pages. Head over to our website. Sign up for the newsletter as well while you're at it. That'll help you earn some entries into the giveaway as well. It's smokintabacco.com. But that's it. That's all I've got for this episode, Coop. Unless you got anything else.
No, that was it. I wanted to actually. It's kind of funny because I wanted to actually do this with you. So, like I said, stay tuned. I'm excited to see how everything flushes out with that, and I think it will be a lot of fun. I think I have a guess for yours, but we won't spoil it. But I think I have a guess what the number 1 is.
All right, you can tell me. You can tell me after the show.
Yep.
I'd be curious to see what you think.
So here's the idea. No one on the Coop team knows my list. So nobody. The Ben Bear, they are in as much suspense as everybody. It is one of the most kept secrets out there. It's basically you might have to go under my mattress at home to get the list. So that's the only way you could probably find that. It's never leaked out.
Does your wife know the list?
No, but she.
Wow, that's pretty good.
But she does know it before everybody else because she does the editing. There's also going to be a video and audio component this year with the list, which is I'm introducing for the first time as well. So
that'll be cool.
It will be very short ones like we did, like 2 to 3 minute videos on it, just so it gets. And what that does is it just kind of, if folks want to watch a video, they can.
Nice.
I think the written way is always the way to go, but there's different ways, and everyone has a different way of doing it. So.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with doing something a little bit different. It's always good to innovate.
Like I said, everyone brings a unique spin to it. which is fun. Like the dojo list is another one. It's different. Half Wheel's got their own spin. Aaron's got his spin. Aaron made big changes to his last year. They moved from group like multiple lists to single lists. Ben is not doing a list this year because he kind of came on board late, but Ben will have a list next year, and whether we combine it is we don't know yet. So it's tough because the coop thing's been going on for 11 years. So,
Right.
it's hard to change things a bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But on that note, that's going to do it for Spare Notes number 10. Thank you guys for watching and listening along at home. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all of our platforms. As I said before, we have Charlie Minato coming up on the main show this week, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. Facebook and YouTube, as well as everywhere podcasts can be downloaded. Coop.
Yep. Let me promo next week's show.
Go right ahead.
Big show. One of our biggest shows of the year.
I saw this. I'm excited.
Yeah. We have the three-headed monster of retailers. We have Abe, Dave Garofalo, and Jeff Borshowitz. So that is gonna be the
Smokin, Two Guys Smoke Shop, and Corona Cigar.
Yep. Those are the big three. I don't put a lot of retailers on the show either. And it's not, again, we just haven't. But each of these guys kind of have a brand behind what they're doing too. So
yes.
So it's a little unique. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. That will be next Thursday. We're starting at 9, so you should be all done with Smokin Tabacco when we start. We had to start that one a little early for a variety of reasons, mostly mine. I have to be up early the next day. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should be done by that time.
Yep.
But I'll be watching.
Yeah, if you miss it, you can always catch us on download, just like any of these shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us. Take care, and we'll see you next week.